So you can't be jealous of people because this and that worked out for them. It was never yours.
Hey ladies, welcome to an episode of Beyond the Veil where we discuss just about everything. Today we're going to do a chit chat, get ready with me, while I share some of the downloads that I received this week.
Let's talk about our week. I had one hell of a week, okay? It was so stressful. But the blessing of going through tough challenges throughout the week and it being Saturday, I'm going out to my friend's dinner just shows that I can go through things and survive it, okay? A lot of times we forget that we've been through things before, and if we were delivered the first time, why won't we be delivered again? I always feel like the message is always in the situations we go through. We just have to allow ourselves to see it. You're just so wrapped up with, oh my gosh, I'm going through this and going through that. You missed the message. I personally don't feel like God allows us to go through things for no reason. I think that it's usually for us to grow from whatever it is that we are being challenged to go through. We can get so absorbed with what will this mean that we miss what God is trying to say to us. Sometimes God has a message for you, and sometimes God has a message for others as well. The point is that everything that I went through allowed me to slow down, spend time with God while I meditated, and really hear, like, God, what is your plan for me? Ask that question in the first place. What is your plan for me? What is it that you're trying to get me to see? Because sometimes we feel like we're doing everything right. And it's not to say that you're doing a million things wrong, but you don't have the answer all the time. Sometimes you don't know it all. And that's okay. That's the part of growing. That's the part of becoming who you're ultimately going to end up being. When you're old and you're having conversations with your grandchildren or the youth in general, you'll have some types of words of wisdom to speak to them and say, I actually took a chance on this and it didn't work out. But here's what I learned. Napoleon Hill says that you never actually fail. Wait, what he said?
I would be something less than fair with you if I had neglected to tell you that my greatest blessings came from my greatest adversities. But these blessings never would have been recognized by me if I had not learned the truth that every adversity carries with it the seed of an equivalent benefit.
I think moving was one of the biggest lessons. It taught me the most because it really taught me how to be patient and how to trust God. Because sometimes we feel like, okay, is this even what God is really trying to tell me to do? I had to really take time to sit with it and say, God, let your desires be my desires. Honestly, I'm so happy that I did. The toughest thing to do is ask God to let his desires be your desires. Because a lot of times we think that, oh, well, God wants me to do this. God wants me to do that. And you're so ready for God to say, you know, what it is, that the answer that you're looking for. But then when you get humbled and you realize that all these things that I said that I wanted was never actually God's plan for me. These were things that I was influenced to do by other sources, whether it be your friends, whether it be social media. It wasn't really your purpose in the first place. The message wasn't yours. God has a whole different purpose for you. But if you don't ask God to let his desires be your desires, then you're going to be moving along with somebody else's plan, somebody else's vision. Have you actually just sat down and asked God if the vision that you think you came up with is actually yours? Did it come from you? Where did it come from? It takes me to this story. I actually made this up, but I think it's a very good example and metaphor. Basically, a young girl who was sitting in her geometry class. They had an exam and she was so confident that she was going to pass. She studied all night. She studied for a week actually, and she knew that, okay, no matter what question is asked on this exam, I'm going to do good because I studied. But while she's taking the exam, she can see this other girl's answers. Like, the girl is sitting diagonally in front of her, and she's like, whoa, Jeanette is so smart, and her answer for number 2 is B and mine is C. Like, how could that be? I was 100% sure that I was ready, but our answers don't match up. So she changed her answers, and then she did that throughout the test. Some of the questions that she for sure thought was she was answering correctly, she changed her answer to match up with Jeanette, the smart girl's answer. The next day, they come in and they get their exams back, and Jeanette gets an A and she gets a D. She's like, damn, how the hell did that happen? And the teacher's like, let's go over the answers. We're gonna go over exam A first. And in that moment, she realized that the exams were actually different. And she felt really, really stupid because here she was changing her answer to match up somebody else's exam. And had she just stayed confident in her own answers, the one that she studied for a week, and had faith in herself that she was going in the right direction, she would have passed. And the moral of the story is, when you follow other people and you don't even know what God has planned for them, and you're just following them because you figured, okay, well, they have the right answer. Just because God has something for them doesn't mean that it's for you. You have to follow what God is telling you. You have to consult with God first and ask him, is this even what you want for me? Is this the plan? You're gonna go on and live somebody else's truth and live somebody else's purpose and and think that it's gonna work out for you, and it's not. You're gonna end up failing because it was never your test. It was never your test. It was never your test. Hopefully I said it for those in the back. Stop trying to copy off of people. Stop thinking that their lessons are your lessons. Even if they went through something horrible and they're warning you and say, girl, you better not, because this is what happened to me. Okay, I hear you. I hear your cautionary tale, but your experience is not my experience. Just because you went through that doesn't mean that I'm gonna go through that. And it's no shade at all. But at the end of the day, your experience is completely different than somebody else's experience. And you can't allow them to project their experience onto you. And you can't project your experience onto others. Or you can't expect to gain their successes through their experience. They went through it, and that was their success to be had, not yours. So you can't be jealous of people because this and that worked out for them. It was never yours. It's okay to clap for people because God brought them through whatever he brought them through. Everybody's experience is not yours. So be careful with comparison. Be careful with changing things up in your life to match up what other people are getting because you think that you deserve that. And just because it worked out for them, it should work out for you. That's not how it works. We're all different. I'm me for a reason. What God gave to me, He's not going to give to you because it wasn't for you. It was for me. And vice versa. You know what I mean? I remember when I was pregnant with my kids, I wanted a girl so bad. So bad. And everybody around me was having girls. And I was having boys. And, you know, there were some times where I was just like, God, all I did was ask for a girl. Why can't I get one? Number one, children aren't pets. So you can't just say, I want this and let that be that. If it's not meant for you, it's just not meant for you. Personally, I feel like I would have been a wonderful girl mom, but it just wasn't for me. It wasn't in the cards for me. And I came to that realization and I was okay with it. Because at the end of the day, right now, I'm so happy that I have all boys. Would I have wanted a daughter? Of course. But I realized that that's not God's plan for me. And eventually I will have 5 beautiful daughter-in-laws that I get to do all the things that I wanted to do with my daughter. I also have goddaughters. I have nieces, you know, and I have plenty of them. And I love them. And I'm so grateful to have them. But I had to come to the realization that just because I wanted a daughter didn't mean that I necessarily needed to have a daughter. God does what He wants to do, and we have to be completely okay with that and say, you know what, God, I wanted this, but I'm completely okay with not having it because I know whatever it is that you gave me is a blessing nonetheless. My children are healthy, they're loved, they're loving. I love my kids so much, and I'm so grateful to have them. But, you know, had I not caught myself, I would have missed out on the blessing of what it really takes to be a boy mom and all of the benefits of being a boy mom. You know what I mean? I love being a boy mom. I truly do. And I'm not just saying that because I have no choice but to be a boy mom. Like, I really love being a boy mom. And I feel like God knew that. He knew that I was gonna love this. And I get my girl time, about to go out, hang out with my friends. I have my nieces, you know what I mean? I love them from their household, and they come hang out with me and they go back home. And God knows why He did that. And I am completely okay with it. So whatever it is that you're struggling with and you're comparing yourself to other people and what they're getting, like, and asking God, like, why couldn't you do that for me? Just think about it. And then look at your life. You'll end up answering your own question. Well, this probably wasn't what was best for me. Or I probably just wasn't best for it. We're all different for a reason. And honestly, I feel like in my case, I think I'm doing a pretty decent job at raising my sons because I always get amazing compliments about them. And this world needs good men. They need good young Black men to start permeating the world with just happiness and joy. And who better than me to do the job? Okay? I grew up with a brother and some cousins. I have some masculine skills as well, like as far as knowing how to take my feelings out of situations and use my thought process and not crying over spilled milk. And I think that those are really good qualities to train your boys up to understand. If I was a woman who had daughters, I would want my daughters to be with boys that are like my sons. I'm just saying, I feel like it's okay that I'm a boy mom because I'm just raising them to be great men for your daughters. You're welcome. You're welcome. So I challenge you to think about some of the things that you have maybe felt like weren't fair to you, or challenges that you went through that you just wished happened in a different way, and just thank God for it. Say, God, I know that originally I was uncomfortable with the situation. Originally I was a little unhappy and I thought it was a little unfair. But I'm actually very happy. I'm very happy that you're trusting me to go through this experience so that I can eventually help somebody else who, number one, is going through the same thing as me, or somebody who didn't know that they needed to hear this experience and this message from me. Thank you for giving me the ability to learn and grow from this situation. That's how I want you to take on challenges or things that make you uncomfortable. It's easy to say that God has his favorites. Maybe he does, I don't know. But it's nice to ask yourself sometimes, am I God's favorite? And find the little things in your life that has worked out for you in the most craziest ways that you did not expect to work out for you, and say, wow, I am actually favored by God. I'm one of his favorites. And the more you say that, the more you start seeing the little ways in which things are working out for you, or the way that things are catered to you and your success. And then you have no choice but to have more gratitude, and that energy is gonna call in more blessings. I'm telling you, I have literally seen God make so many miracles work out in my life. And it wasn't into looking at things in retrospect that I was able to say, oh, wow.
Oh my God! Wow!
I'm literally living out the prayers that I prayed to God. I'm living it. I'm seeing these things happen in my life. I also want to point out that this is my first real talking video, and I was so nervous to do it, but I had no outline. This is just me talking about how much I appreciate going through some of the things that I have been through, and I've literally grown from them. I am a completely different person than I was even 2 years ago. And it's because I've been able to sit with myself and sit with God and really take in what it is that God is trying to show me in the moment of my suffering and my challenges. And even just paying attention to the people that are around me and what they're going through and how they have grown. I think that I'm so much more observant and so much more grateful for, number one, the things that I've been through, but number two, the way that I've seen other people in my life transform. I want to be late because I don't want to be that friend, so I'm going to go hurry up and get ready and then come back. Well, this is the finished look. I think I look cute.
Shine bright like a diamond. Shine bright like a diamond. Shine bright like a diamond. Fly light in the beautiful sea. I choose to be happy. You and I, we're like diamonds in the sky. You're a shooting star, I see. A vision of ecstasy. When you hold me, I'm alive. We're like diamonds in the sky. I knew that we become one, baby. We're beautiful.